like Breanna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu has broken their silence about this massacre they team just had.
Welcome back, and I hope you are having an amazing day. Get ready because today's story is one you seriously do not want to sleep on, especially if you follow the WNBA, Caitlin Clark, or anything happening in basketball right now. So stay locked in until the very end. The Indiana Fever just walked into New York and handed the Liberty a 108-88 beatdown. It started tight, but Indiana took over in the second half and never looked back. And after the game, the Liberty said something in their post-game interviews that nobody was expecting. Real, genuine respect for what Caitlin Clark did out there. No excuses, no deflection, just straight-up acknowledgement of how special her performance was. So here is the question worth debating. Were the Liberty players being genuinely respectful or just keeping it professional after a tough loss? Drop your answer in the comments. And real quick before we keep going, if you are watching this and you have not subscribed yet, now is the moment. More than 93% of viewers have not hit that button, and honestly, that is wild because it is completely free and takes 1 second. Already subscribed? You are the best, seriously, thank you. Now let's get back into it.
Moments we saw from Caitlin Clark today against a team that started off the season 9-0, a team that is the defending champions, might have been the greatest women's basketball performance we have ever seen. That might have been the greatest showing from a WNBA player we have ever witnessed. That was spectacular. The shots she hit in this game, y'all, were something like I've never seen any other women basketball player ever come close to hitting. There are NBA superstars out there that I have not seen have a game with that.
When true greatness gets recognized by other great players, the full picture matters. So let us look at exactly what went down. The New York Liberty came into this game as defending champions, sitting comfortably at the top of the standings, likely expecting to handle an Indiana Fever team that had been struggling without its biggest star. Instead, they got a complete basketball lesson from the opening tip to the final buzzer. After missing 5 games due to injury, Caitlin Clark walked back onto the court and instantly reminded the entire basketball world why her name sits above everyone else in the sport right now. She finished with 17 points, 7 assists, and enough highlight plays to fill a Netflix documentary on their own. But perhaps the most impressive part of the whole night was what happened after the final whistle. Sabrina Ionescu and Breanna Stewart did not make excuses, did not deflect, and did not shy away from what had just happened to them. They gave Clark exactly the credit and respect she had gone out and earned.
We go on runs, they do as well. They're a great team. So I don't think it's defeating. I think obviously we know what a great shooter she is, and I think we just gave her too many easy ones. Obviously she has great range, and her ability to get her shot off is really impressive, especially with missing some games. And so obviously on a personal level, I'm really happy to see her back out on the court, healthy, feeling good, because obviously it's important for them. But
after Caitlin Clark returned from her injury absence, Sabrina Ionescu wasted absolutely no time giving her the praise she deserved. When asked about Clark's performance, Ionescu pointed directly to her shooting ability, her incredible range, and most importantly, her talent for making shots even with defenders draped all over her. That was more than simple sportsmanship. That was genuine respect from one elite player to another, even after Clark had just put on a show in front of a national audience. But Sabrina did not stop there. She also said she was genuinely happy to see Clark back on the floor healthy again, sharing that she was excited to see her return in great shape, not just because of what it meant for the Fever, but because she was happy for Clark personally. Those are not the words you use for someone you only see as a rival. That is the kind of thing you say about a player you truly believe is something special. And perhaps the most telling part of Ionescu's comments came when she openly admitted they gave Clark too many easy looks. Think about what that means for a second. One of the greatest shooters in WNBA history publicly acknowledged that even slightly open opportunities become almost automatic in Clark's hands. Ionescu knows better than almost anyone what it takes to knock down deep three-pointers consistently. So when she says someone has remarkable range, the basketball world listens. Breanna Stewart took a slightly different approach, but her response carried just as much respect. As one of the most decorated players in WNBA history, with multiple championships and MVP awards already on her resume, Stewart could have easily shifted the conversation toward officiating or pointed fingers at mistakes her own team made. Instead, she stood at that podium and openly accepted that the better team had won that night, acknowledging straight up that the Indiana Fever had simply outplayed them.
reaction with one another. Stewie's laughing. Caitlin knows it's ridiculous. Just out there having a good time.
Throughout the game, Breanna Stewart's body language told its own story. When Caitlin Clark drilled that deep logo three-pointer, Stewart was standing right there watching it happen. And instead of looking frustrated or angry, she actually smiled, seemingly unable to help herself from appreciating what she had just witnessed. That is the kind of reaction you only ever see from someone who genuinely understands they have just watched something special, even when it comes directly at the expense of their own team. Stewart kept it simple after the game, saying that every team has nights like this.
We had our moments. We got back into the game. We had that run when Stewie was guarding Caitlin Clark, but then they executed well. And, we had so many breakdowns on defense and they made shots. They really punished us on that end, making, 17 threes from 35. It was just too wide open. So
Stewart explained that their defensive breakdowns were not random mistakes. They happened because Caitlin Clark fundamentally changes the way defenses have to operate. When a player can pull up from anywhere past half court and make it look effortless, the entire defensive game plan has to be rebuilt from scratch. The Liberty struggled to find a way to contain Clark while simultaneously keeping Indiana's other players under control. And that impossible balancing act is exactly why the post-game reactions carried so much weight, especially with the media constantly trying to manufacture a rivalry between Clark and other WNBA stars. Ionescu and Stewart chose the honest route instead, giving straight assessments of what happened rather than creating drama or taking anything away from Clark's performance. Even the biggest critics could not argue with the numbers. The Fever shot the ball extremely well from three because defenses were so locked in on stopping one player that they left professional shooters standing wide open. Clark's presence created every single one of those opportunities, and her teammates cashed in on them. Stewart admitting they pushed their players too hard, trying to keep pace with Indiana's offensive explosion, showed the mental toll Clark puts on opposing teams. The Liberty rushed shots and made defensive errors because they were scrambling to match the Fever's scoring pace, and that pressure came from one person. This went beyond basketball. It showed how completely one player can control the entire rhythm of a game. The coaching reaction added even more meaning to the story. Sandy Brondello did not point at the referees or bring up missing players. She simply acknowledged that the Fever played better and made the big shots when they mattered most. When a championship-level coach hands full credit to the opponent, it tells you the performance was genuinely something special. The Liberty's defensive numbers from this game were alarming. They gave up 102 points, including 53 in the first half against a team that had struggled badly on offense without Clark. This was not just a rough defensive night. It showed how one player's return can completely dismantle an opponent's entire game plan. Sabrina's comment that basketball is a game of runs was also significant because it showed she recognized Indiana's success was not a lucky shooting night. She understood the Fever maintained their energy, stuck to their plan, and competed at a high level for 40 minutes straight. The shooting gap told the full story. While the Liberty connected on just 20% of their three-point attempts, the Fever knocked down 17 three-pointers. That was not luck. It happened because one player demanded so much defensive attention that everyone around her got cleaner looks than they normally would. Stewart's comments about the team's toughness were revealing because they showed how deeply this loss affected them mentally. The Liberty pride themselves on championship-level basketball, but they openly admitted they could not match Clark's speed and execution. The transition numbers were especially brutal for New York, and it says everything that the defending champions were left reflecting after losing to a Fever team that many had already written off without their star player. Unlike their previous struggles in transition, Indiana created 19 fast break opportunities in this game. Clark's ability to push the pace and generate scoring chances before defenses can even get set was a massive reason behind that. Stewart pointed out how difficult things became when the Liberty could not establish their half-court defense or create stops. Ionescu admitted their offense broke down when they could not get into transition, showing how thoroughly Clark disrupted their normal rhythm. The Liberty's identity was built around getting defensive stops and converting them into offense, but that whole system falls apart when the opponent never stops scoring. Clark did not beat them only with her own points. She dismantled their entire team structure. The free throw numbers made things even harder for New York. Even with more foul calls going their way, the Liberty still could not match Indiana's offensive efficiency. Stewart's admission that they did not attack the rim enough showed how Clark's shooting range from the outside changed the availability of driving lanes for everyone else. The coaching adjustment discussion was particularly fascinating because it revealed how desperately the Liberty tried to slow Clark down. They changed defensive looks, experimented with zone coverage, and even tried denying her the ball entirely. Nothing worked. When championship-level coaches cannot find an answer, it tells you a player has reached a completely different level. Stewart's comments about finding their identity suggested this loss forced the Liberty to genuinely question where they stand among the league's elite. They came in as defending champions and the top-ranked team, and they left wondering whether they were truly the best when everyone was healthy. The international experience of both Ionescu and Stewart gave their opinions added weight. Both players have competed for their countries and faced elite competition around the world. Their respect for Clark carries extra significance because it comes from athletes who know exactly what true greatness looks like up close. Sabrina's focus on Clark's ability to make difficult shots highlighted the real difference between being a good shooter and being an elite scorer. It is not only about knocking down open looks. It is about creating those opportunities and finishing when defenders are right in your face. Clark showed that ability over and over throughout the game. Stewart mentioned communication breakdowns on defense, but those were not accidental. They came directly from Clark's movement and decision-making, forcing defenders into split-second choices that kept going wrong. Even great teams can look completely ordinary when one player consistently puts the entire defense in impossible situations. The conversation about game pace showed how much Clark's return changed everything. The Liberty usually dictate the tempo and control how games are played. But Clark's presence forced them into a faster style that played perfectly into Indiana's hands. Stewart, recognizing this, showed genuine respect for how deeply Clark influences every aspect of a game. Her shooting performance was impressive not just because of the shots she made, but because of her shot selection and decision-making under pressure. Even on difficult attempts, Clark kept making the right choices at the right moments. Ionescu's comments showed she understands the difference between a very good player and someone who is truly once in a generation. Clark's return immediately restored the Fever's offensive identity and changed the entire conversation around team chemistry. Players who had looked uncertain without her suddenly looked comfortable and confident again. Stewart recognized this was not simply about one player's talent. It was about how one player lifts the level of everyone around her. The Liberty's plan to pressure Clark ended up creating more opportunities for her teammates, and Stewart admitting they gave up too many open shots confirmed that Clark's scoring threat creates benefits that go far beyond her own stat line. The post-game discussion also showed how prepared Indiana was coming in. They identified defensive tendencies that championship teams typically hide well and attacked specific weaknesses in the Liberty's scheme. Clark's court vision and decision-making played a central role in turning those opportunities into points. Once Clark found her rhythm, the momentum kept flowing toward Indiana. Even when New York went on scoring runs, the Fever always had an answer, because Clark can manufacture offense from anywhere on the floor. Stewart's respect showed she understood that Clark has the rare ability to single-handedly change the outcome of games. And beyond the scoring, Clark's 7 assists proved she impacts winning in ways that go far beyond points. Ionescu's assessment of her complete performance showed a deep understanding that truly great players do more than fill up the box score. They make every single person around them better. Stewart and Ionescu both grasped the significance of this loss for the championship picture. They acknowledged that losing to a healthy Fever team changes how people have to view the league's top contenders. Defending champions do not say things like that unless they mean every word. Their post-game comments reflected a level of respect that went well beyond standard professionalism. Both players recognized they had just watched a performance that confirmed Clark's place among the most special talents the game has ever seen. By giving credit where it was clearly deserved, they showed the kind of sportsmanship that helps the entire league grow. When defending champions publicly praise the player who just beat them, you know you have witnessed something real. Instead of making excuses, Ionescu and Stewart respected Clark's dominant performance for exactly what it was. What did you think about their reaction after being outplayed? For more WNBA analysis, make sure to like the video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe. If you are a Caitlin Clark fan, drop CC 100% in the comments below.